You are listening to the Reading for the Glory podcast. Join us as we have meaningful conversations that will help us discover truth, goodness, and beauty through the written word. For more information and additional resources, please visit readingfortheglory.com. Welcome to the Reading for the Glory podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kendrick. I serve as the executive director here at Reading for the Glory. And we are excited to be back in the podcast world, and we look forward to having you join us as we have compelling conversations that will help us discover truth, goodness, and beauty through the written word. Well, it's been about a year since we published our last podcast in our first season, and much has changed here at Reading for the Glory. For a little over a year, my family and I have been in the Anglican tradition. We moved over from a broadly evangelical Baptist tradition to what I now call a broadly Catholic tradition. And that has changed our theology and our ecclesiology, our view of the church, quite drastically. And the material that we were publishing on Reading for the Glory and the podcasts that we were publishing, the material that we were working with, my theology and my outlook on things was shifting as I was doing some of those podcasts and writing some of those articles. So, for those reasons, I needed to take a break. I was undergoing that journey and walking in that path. And so I took several months off, and for readers of the readingfortheglory.com on the website, you'll notice last fall, our material kind of moved more in the Anglican-centric, broadly Catholic-centric material. And so, for those reasons, we took a step back, and honestly, we were actually burnt out. I was doing one episode a week of the podcast, which I learned was a lot, and so I kind of bit off a little bit more than I could chew. And but we had great conversations in that first season, that first rendition of the podcast, and so we wanted to figure out a way to bring it back. And so we decided to do that, but in a more sustainable way. And so for listeners of this new rendition of the podcast, you'll notice that the content's going to change a little bit. It becomes a little more Anglican focused, a little more broadly Catholic focused in its material and in the conversations we're going to have upcoming. I've written a few articles on my own journey towards the Anglican tradition, and I could put a link to those in our show notes. You can go to readingfortheglory.com and find those. But even as we go along in the podcast, that'll come out more in the conversations that we have, and maybe one day down the road, I'll have a more full episode sharing my own journey with you guys. Well, by and large, the structure of the podcast is going to stay roughly the same. We want to have conversations, interactions with authors, with church leaders, with people who are on their own faith journey. And so we want to have those compelling conversations that will help us discover truth, goodness, and beauty. But the major changes that our listeners will notice is we're not going to have official seasons. We were doing a seasonal approach where we were going to do maybe a season in the fall and a season in the spring. We're just going to do away with seasons, and we're just going to publish episodes as we feel led. And we're going to record conversations with guests that we have, and we're going to just publish them as we find the time, and as we hope to have guests that we hope will be compelling and be helpful on your own spiritual journey for the listener. Our goal is to release roughly monthly, maybe twice a month, depending on how ambitious we're able to get. And we're excited to announce that on May 20th, we're going to be relaunching the podcast. That episode is going to be with a professor named Dr. Drew Keene. He is an expert on the Book of Common Prayer, which is the Anglican book of worship. And so we're going to have a really good conversation with him, particularly around the 1662 edition of the Book of Common Prayer. So hopefully you join us for that one. We're also going to have conversation with Pastor Matt Smethurst and his new book on Tim Keller on the Christian life. That's going to be a really good conversation, as well as a returning guest, Dr. Karen Swallow Pryor. That was one of my favorite episodes we had last year on the podcast with her on her book, The Evangelical Imagination. Well, she has graciously accepted our invitation to rejoin us for this year and record a conversation with us on her new book about calling. And so hope you will join us for that episode as well. We're also going to have several guests on the schedule that aren't necessarily big name or well-known guests. They're going to be people who are on their own faith journey towards the Anglican, broadly Catholic tradition. And so we're excited to have those people on as well. And we hope you find those compelling and encouraging as well. So we look forward to that official release on May 20th, and we hope that you will join us. You can find the Reading for the Glory podcast on all major platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and more. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review so that you won't miss an episode. And if you like the content that you hear on the podcast, we would encourage you to consider supporting the ministry of Reading for the Glory. And this is exciting news for me to announce that we are launching a new program for monthly supporters of Reading for the Glory. We would love to send you a free book. That's going to change about quarterly. And so be listening to the podcast. A couple of the episodes, we do mention a specific book that we're going to be giving away. But be sure to check out readingfortheglory.com/free gift for the latest update on what that is. And we pray that you would consider joining us in that endeavor and being a sponsor of and supporter of Reading for the Glory. Well, we look forward to having you join us on May 20th for the official relaunch of the Reading for the Glory podcast. We hope that you will join us as we discover truth, goodness, and beauty through the written word.